DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Hey, we are live. We are live.
Oh, hey, all right.
You got all sorts of buttons here going, and boom, I found one. Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, we are only on YouTube tonight, which is fortunate if you watch us on YouTube. But if you're watching us on Facebook, you aren't.
Yeah. Maybe they are. I mean,
maybe there's a scientific, really high tech way they did it. Maybe they're pirating our signal. Major League Baseball is stealing our signal. That's it. Sorry, like that's a Simpsons reference there. Sorry.
Like the old UHF movie or whatever.
But so tonight, gang, we're going to be just kind of having more of a casual, leisurely show. We're not going to get super technical. We're not going to get super geeky. We're not going to really get in depth in anything. But we want to talk.
Explode.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those weeks as Ben and I were just talking before we went live. With all the traveling and different things that it's been, a person just gets wore down after a point in time. So tonight we're just going to kind of talk about, yes, Ben is home, and part of that conversation we're going to have tonight is a little bit about some of the things that we picked up over time with traveling, some tips, some ideas, and such. For those of you, some of you are going to be headed to one of the DJ conventions and such, whether it's Atlantic City. I think we had 3 last night that had never gone to Atlantic City that are like, I'm going to go. It's like, cool. So,
funnel cake capital of the world.
It is, and I've not had one there.
You know what? And nothing else seems to work, so I'm just going to call her out right here on the show. Tara Feely, it's going to happen this year. Funnel cake is going to happen this year.
Meaning that she is going to have one because she's never had one before?
Well, I'm sure she's maybe had one at one point or another, but anyway, every year we talk about having a funnel cake, and every year, I don't know, something happens. It just doesn't have a funnel cake. So I'm calling you out this year, funnel cake. All right. Everybody else, DJs. All right. Peer pressure works. Okay. So.
And the funnel cakes, they're down on the boardwalk. Isn't that where you guys have picked them up?
Oh, absolutely. And the funnel cakes are epic. I mean, this is not like your Minnesota County Fair funnel cake. I mean, these are legit funnel cakes with, cherry or pineapple or whipped cream or all of the above. I mean, this is like a meal, So
very neat. I've seen people walking with but they haven't paid much attention to them. So now it might be something I have to check out.
Well, then you're my backup plan, John. If Tara's not gonna have a funnel cake,
great. I'm number 2, man. Woo! Up from 3 or 5 or 10.
It is what it is. I mean, it's.
So Ben, I wanted to talk a little bit about travel because first off, we've kind of alluded to and talked about you being here and being there, but I sometimes I don't know if people grasp how often you're on the road, and it might actually be easier for us to describe how many days you actually are at home.
Yeah, I've sort of quit keeping track, but it's probably around 240 days that I'm gone. So, literally being gone twice as much as you're home. And I've tried to cut back a little bit and tried to create balance. And of course there's an ebb and a tide, and, I've turned down some speaking engagements this year but yet some other things have popped up, and, so it's great to be in demand. It's great to have things to do. But it's great to be a husband and a father too.
Yeah.
So you try to find balance, and occasionally I'll use those air miles to take the kids out on the road with me. And even though the last thing I really want to do is leave, I think for them it's kind of neat, and they get a chance to walk in Dad's shoes a little bit, and they realize that everything that glitters isn't gold, and travel isn't all it's cracked up to be sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. That's the kids are at times are like, oh, you guys get to go to da 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 da. It's like, do you realize what a monumental effort it is to get from here home to there with travel, and especially in the winter time up for us up here. And then once you're there, to get set up a camp in essence, so you can do the work you need to do. And it's like, it'd be just so much easier to stay home.
Oh, I just, I don't know how many people, would feel this way. Maybe a lot of people who travel, but when I got back to my desk and I was able to sit down at my desk with those resources in front of me and help customers from there, it just felt like I was so happy to be at my desk at work. And like,
for sure.
I can help people now. I can get stuff done easily now,
Yeah.
Obviously we live in a world where technology has made it easier to travel and do these things on the road, but it's just something about, the mothership, the home base,
Well, let's kind of start right from that point. And this is, we kind of I gave Ben a little general idea of what I wanted to talk about, but this will be a little bit of different angle. Let's talk about bringing our office on the road, because when we are on the road, people are still wanting to communicate with us and such. What have you done, or how do you operate when you're on the road? I mean, are you doing everything via phone, or are you doing something computer-wise?
Man, I wish I had known you were going to take that angle, because I still have in my office in a box somewhere, because I don't know, I never threw it away. And why would I guess, but I have a Kyocera QCP 6035, which was the first unholy union between a Palm Pilot and a cell phone. And really laid the groundwork for what is now the modern smartphone, where suddenly you have all the things that were in your Palm Pilot, your contacts and notes and that sort of thing, and some very elemental word processing, and your phone married together. And of course, now we look at the 10-year anniversary of the iPhone coming up, and certainly there's a lot of other smartphones out there. The computing power in these devices is astronomical, and the ability to stay connected is fantastic. A blessing and a curse, a blessing and a curse. And then, but for me, nothing beats, a laptop is certainly the next step up. There's a lot of things you can do from a smartphone, whether you're on a train or a plane or running through an airport. I mean, it's in your hand and you can do it on the move, but I'm a lot more productive when I have all 10 fingers working,
Yeah, for sure.
And
that was one of when we were starting to do a lot of the traveling and needing to keep up with email and websites and adjusting, what have you. That's when the MacBook Air came into play. Before that, my children were like, that's just a glorified netbook. Why would you spend the money to buy one of those? Well, you find out when you travel a lot that the MacBook Air is a really capable device.
It does everything you really need it to do. I mean, it's a fully functional laptop. So,
and we've streamed some of our shows with the MacBook Air. Now, granted, the one we did at Atlantic City last year wasn't that, because I wanted the bigger screen so we could follow the chat while we were doing the show out in the boardwalk that night. But
and luckily my eyes are still pretty good. I'm sure that'll change as I get older, but I like the smaller screen, because I'm 6'1", and you put me in an airplane seat, that doesn't leave a lot of room for a big laptop.
Yeah.
Just recently, and one of the perks of being a priority traveler, someone who travels a lot, is you board early. That's not the perk. You just get to sit on the plane longer. But the perk of that is that you get to put your bag on. My laptop, which we've talked about in previous shows, weighs like 35 pounds, and has everything under the sun in it. And so that always goes overhead. And me at 6'1", my feet go under the seat in front of me, not my bag. Well, a recent flight attendant said, "Yeah, I need you to put your bag under the seat." And I didn't argue the point, but I went, I'm going to sit with my knees under my chin now for the rest of the flight, Anyway, a bigger laptop would certainly make that worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my 15-inch, this last probably 5 trips, I've been taking both laptops like probably a silly boy. But there's some things that I need that computing power.
You overachiever, you.
Yeah, exactly. I've got the one that I use on the plane, and I use that in the airport, the MacBook Air. But once I get to the site, and we've been doing more video edits, or we actually did the live streaming from Vegas this last time, you need to have that 15-inch to do the, in this particular case, a lot of you have asked how this works, is we have one program that Ben and I are chatting with, and that's being captured by another program. Those two are being modified and tweaked by a video tweaking program and an audio tweaking program. again, captured by and then sent out to YouTube and unfortunately not to Facebook tonight, but typically it'd be sent out to both spots. But you got to have a lot of horsepower to be able to do all of that.
Yeah.
And then of course, being that we're traveling so much, the little tools and such that we've looked at your backpack the one time, and it's interesting how there's some similarities between backpacks, but there's some things that are different. Like in mine, I've got to have different internet devices and different antenna configurations for the little the MiFi. So if we're in a hotel that has a crappy reception or crappy internet, that I can go and there have been some hotels where I've used the magnetic one and stuck it right on the side of the hotel. And there have been times where I've used the window mount. I've been using the window mount more frequently, but
My backpack got a recent addition, by the way.
oh, what?
A rain poncho.
Oh,
Little disposable rain poncho.
That's a nice one. Yeah, we've got the umbrella that. Did you see that Lori was actually she was representing at the hardware show with the NLFX Pro bag?
No, I missed it.
Oh yeah, I took a picture and tagged you in that on Facebook. But
that might have been when I was at this festival, freezing and shivering in the 40-degree rain.
Yeah, it was the week before. But yeah, you were probably running around somewhere. But yeah, that
week before I was either in Miami or Baltimore or DC.
Probably Miami would be much more appealing than.
And I did go down to the beach and take a picture. Basically, at the end of the day, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever it was. All the meetings were done, and the folks I was meeting with, they said, "Anything you want to do?" And I said, "Yep, I want to go to the." And so we went down there, and I was literally down there long enough to take a picture, and I left. So
that was my first experience in Atlantic City, running out to the ocean. Click. But don't you want to go check out the water? It's like I don't have time. I've got to be meeting with someone in 15 minutes.
Let me tell you, I don't know if this makes me a good parent or not. I guess I'm going to put it out there on YouTube.
Because everything on YouTube stays on YouTube.
No doubt, but at this point, my life doesn't really have any secrets. So I don't recall exactly how old my son was, but it was Shark Week, and there was a documentary on the making of Jaws, and he really didn't want to watch it, and I kind of did. And so I said, "You've never seen Jaws? Well, you got to watch this. This is great." And I don't know if I convinced him or not. But anyway, the point is he'd never seen Jaws. So I thought, well, I got to get Jaws. And so I remember where I was flying at the next day or two, and I had a couple hours to kill, and I was walking through the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, and just decided to go into one of the video electronics stores, and I was kind of looking at, some various gizmos for my laptop or whatever, and just killing time, really. I had like a 3 or 4 hour layover to kill. And the guy said, "Can I interest you in any DVDs? We have DVDs on sale." And I said, "No, not really, unless you have," and I looked and my eyes made contact with Jaws. I'm like, "You have Jaws." So I bought Jaws in the airport. And boy, my wife was mad, but you bought a DVD at the airport. I'm like, "But it was on sale. Think of all the money I saved you." And, it didn't work. Anyway, so, after that trip, I brought Jaws home, and, Father of the Year, my young son and I watched Jaws. And he's sophisticated enough to figure out the shark was entirely fake, but he understood the premise of the movie. And then I think it was like a few days later or the following week, I was flying out to Atlantic City. And I had this great hotel view of the ocean. Just by luck, my hotel room overlooked the beach and the ocean. And I sent a picture back home. And my son's response was, "Are there sharks out there?" And I said, "I don't know." And he says, "Well, go out there and find out." Go get me a shark, Dad. Come on, get a selfie. Yeah, get a selfie with the shark. So
and I've wondered about that, because when we watched Jaws the first time through when we were little kids, and it's like, oh my God, it was horrifying.
Right.
And now when you go back and you watch it, some of the special effects, as you said, you can kind of see that the special effects are so hokey that it's almost like, oh, it's not even close to as scary as I remembered as a youngster.
Right. No. Yeah.
So I've wondered how, and not that we've watched it with the kids. Maybe the boys have probably watched it, but I've wondered. It's like, would they just laugh at it? That's not.
I think he enjoyed it, but yeah, he just clearly wasn't afraid of sharks at that point. He wasn't buying it. So it's there you go. There's a travel story. Shopping for unexpected DVDs in an airport. I know, like, everybody at home is really thinking, "Boy, Ben, we thought your life is more exciting than that." No, not really. Sorry.
So was traveling. This is back when Midwest Airline existed. Did you ever fly or they were basically, I think they were based out of Milwaukee. And Reggie, Reggie's with us tonight. He might remember Midwest. But their claim to fame was that they had fresh chocolate chip cookies on
No, I
every
never
flight.
flew on that.
It was a beautiful. They had larger seats. It was just a fabulous. It was like everything was. All the seats in there were like the front seats in Spirit, not quite first class, but they were the larger. So 2 people per side instead of 3. Anyway, it was I was flying to somewhere, coming back, and I had an hour and a half to kill in the airport. So I went into the bookstore and found the Origins comic book of all of the Marvel characters. It was the encyclopedia of all the origins of that, and it's had to buy the thing because it was a used bookstore. So it was like $17 for that. And then I was continuing looking through, and then there was the same, but the DC Universe one. So I had to buy that one. And I looked on my phone at the time, and these books were like 10% of what they were selling for on Amazon because they were incredibly expensive. I was so excited. So I got on for the last jaunt to Minneapolis, put those up on top, and I was thinking I was just, this was really cool. I've gotten this. And I had picked up a book for the children. I can't remember what it was, but that was my justification, saying, I went shopping to buy the kids a book. I might have even been a children's Bible for all I know. I think it was. But anyway, so I had the books up there. I was so excited and had my cookies, and it was a jump back to Minneapolis and landed. And the stewardess was, they do their little thing at the end, and they were talking because they're kind of a little more humoristic with what they did. For fat Wisconsin people, that's what it was. I get off the plane. I'm down probably halfway to baggage, and I remembered my books.
Oh, no.
Still up in there. Couldn't get them. They were gone. As far as I could not get back onto the airplane. I could not do anything to get back to get my books that were up above the seat. I was so bummed. So bummed. So yeah, even when you try to do a nice thing for your children, I mean, get books for yourself, whichever way you want to look at it. The best laid plans don't always work.
Part of when I'm taking my kids on their trips, part of me wants the trip to go really smooth, be enjoyable for all of us. There's another part of me that really wants them to have the honest experience, where you end up, getting there 12 hours late because, you were delayed nonstop and your flight was canceled. And then there was a storm, and then a giant sea dragon came up and ate the airplane or something. You're just how, things that really happen in the real world. And so I sort of try to balance that. Do I really want to live this again? But on the other hand, then the kids, don't think that, I'm just gallivanting around the world living the high life, so. Oh yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's just seatmates in the airplane, people you're sitting next to. I mean, sometimes it's a pleasant flight, and they're, more often than not, there's someone who's sitting next to me who's pushing 350 pounds, and I'm up against a window or something.
I made a couple new friends in the last couple weeks here on some of these flights, and one of them where I had 4 consecutive mechanical delays, which is just unheard of.
Yeah.
It was just like, come on, you're messing with me now. Lost an entire day of work, and it was a very frustrating ordeal to have 4 consecutive. We were actually on the taxiway, ready to turn onto the runway and take off, and the right engine failed and went out. And they're like, well, we just lost an engine. Guess we're going back. I'm like, really? Anyway, so going through this ordeal kind of bonds you. And the gentleman next to me, turns out we had a lot of common interests, and I don't want to say too much, obviously, and out him, I guess, in video. But anyway, we had a lot of common interests, I think, and developed a new friendship. And turns out, despite the fact that I was somewhere, I think this was my Miami flight, actually, he lives in Bemidji. And what are the odds of that,
Wow.
Or he lives here part-time or something. Anyway, so we're going to have a new connection there, and it'll be kind of nice. So yeah, sometimes you make, weird lifelong friendships like that. And other times you just can't get off the plane fast enough.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I've had a few situations, and even with one where Shani and I were traveling back from Atlantic City to Chicago, and we talk about that. Yeah, we sat down. It was basically, hey, how you doing? Good. We were both basically just passed out once we got on the plane. typical DJ convention after you've gotten all the energy and excitement for 3 days of it, and you get in the plane and you're like,
One of the things I like is Delta has what they call Delta Studio, which is free in-flight entertainment via their Wi-Fi. You just take your laptop or whatever and connect to the Wi-Fi, and you can stream a movie or TV or whatever onto your laptop for free. So even if you don't have the in-seat entertainment, it's all the movies on there are free, and so some of them are great, blockbusters, and others are ones you maybe wouldn't have thought to watch. And I've kind of gone through basically all the available movies. You sort of start with the ones and you want to watch, and then you kind of go through the list, and you end up watching some movies you wouldn't otherwise normally watch, and you really discover some gems.
Mm-hmm.
You say, wow, I would have not watched that movie if I wasn't stuck here for a couple hours. And it was really good.
So what movie have you found that way that it's like, wow, that was a better use of my 2 hours than I expected?
Oh gosh, I can't remember which one would be most unexpected, but I can remember a couple that were. One was just pretty much exactly like I expected. It was Keeping Up with the Joneses. I'm like, yep, that was pretty much exactly what I expected, but it was good for a few laughs.
Mm-hmm.
But another one that really was a lot, I don't want to say better, but I enjoyed it even more than I thought I would was Race, which is the Jesse Owens story.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting how they got much deeper into, I'm a history buff, so they got much deeper into the pre-World War II politics, of the Berlin Olympics and that sort of thing. And I really enjoyed that. In fact, I messaged a couple of friends and I said, if you haven't watched this, you got to watch this. I really enjoyed that more than I thought I would.
Yeah,
that was one I kind of wanted to see anyway. So it wasn't on this, it wasn't at the bottom of the list. But I can't remember what other ones I saw that I wish I could remember them now. I'm sorry.
Saving Banks. Was it Saving Mr. Banks?
Oh yes.
And that was one actually we hadn't seen, and I'd heard from a couple people loved it, and a couple were like, eh. And so that was we're in the airplane, and well, what are we gonna do? Well, I'll watch this one because I've watched the other. We already watched American Sniper. Watched that.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me into a Walt Disney kick.
Mm-hmm.
To watch that, and then it's like, oh, and then I go start looking for documentaries and learning about Disney and how he started his empire and how that all came together. So that was one of my little airplane hidden ones. And most of the time when Lori and I are traveling, again, because we have a larger family, we don't watch anything that's PG-13 or beyond at home.
Right.
And there's times where, it's like, I'd like to watch. People are talking about this movie. I'd like to watch a big person movie. So we do that. And so one of the times Lori and I are getting ready, we were watching, we wanted to see Ted 2 because we watched Ted 1. And that was only on the recommendation of our college students saying, you got to watch Ted. So we did. Okay. Well, it was juvenile humor, but we laughed a little bit. So Ted 2 comes out, so we want to watch that. So we have it we haven't traveled because of the eye thing in so long. We were so excited to get on the airplane. And then a gal from church, she comes in, and of course we're in Southwest, so it's open seating. So it was myself and Lori, and then there was an open seat, and she's like, "Oh, you mind if I sit next to you? I haven't seen you guys in so long." And it's like,
oh no,
fold this up and set that to the side. So we're not watching a movie on this leg of that flight.
But they might surprise you. I have a lot of church friends who would probably watch that. So.
Oh yeah.
I think what would surprise people, John, is there's one movie that I have not watched on Delta Studio, and that is Rogue One. And frankly, because I've seen it so many times, and I enjoyed it every time, but I thought, no, I'm going to force myself to find these other movies that I haven't seen, 6 times. So, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, Day mentioned falling asleep as soon as the plane takes off. Lori envies that ability with me. As soon as we get to our seats, I can put earplugs in. I can be out before we taxi. And that's one of the negative things about sitting on an exit row, because then they want to come through just before we take off. I need a verbal confirmation. Will you? It's like, yes. But that means I have to stay awake an extra 5 minutes. Otherwise, could fall asleep. And then by the time we get up, we're up in the air and they start coming around with beverages. It's like, oh, I've had my little 15, 20-minute power nap. I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch. You can't see us watching the 50 Shades. Reggie couldn't imagine that Lori and I watching the 50 Shades movies. Yeah, probably not. Especially not at home.
Yeah, I'm not. No,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna picture that either. So
No. No. When Lori and I were dating back in the day, the kind of movies we went to go see, we'd go see, like when Harrison Ford was making the Patriot Games movie and the Jack Ryan movies.
Oh yeah,
That's the Bruce Willis. I mean, the shoot 'em up and blow things up and F this, F that type of shows. Unfortunately, that's what the Bruce Willis shows were. That's the kind of stuff we would go out and watch because she enjoyed that type of movie more than and we still went and saw, again, this was the 80s now, so we went and saw things like Pretty in Pink and The Breakfast Club and some of those types of movies.
I was almost a stunt double in a Bruce Willis movie.
Really?
So, yeah, sort of a weird rambling story, but I had an older friend who had made his money as a stuntman doing a lot of Westerns, and he was even in RoboCop, and anyway, he'd made his money doing stunts, and he had moved here to Bemidji, and we became friends. And anyway, he was still doing some consulting work and some stunt coordination work. And one day he kind of sizes me up and says, "You want to be in a movie?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Sounds good." I said, "Well, what are we going to do?" He goes, "Well, you're going to get thrown into a piano about 20 times, by Bruce Willis. He's going to throw you into a piano. You're going to be the stunt double for the guy he's fighting with or whatever. You're about the right size and whatever." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Is it going to hurt?" He says, "Yeah, it's going to hurt." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I'm still on board. I'm 20 something. I got nothing to lose." And then we started going through all the process of what it was going to take and, where I'd have to be on location and undetermined amount of time, and basically figured out I would actually come out financially in the hole on this deal. I'd potentially lose money being in this movie, and I was not in a position to lose money doing anything. So I kind of thought, yeah, I think I'm going to decline this deal, but it was just kind of funny. Anyway, I'm not even sure. I know the working title of the movie, and I'm not even sure if I should say, but I guess I never watched to see who got thrown into the piano.
I can't say I remember there wasn't any of the diehards. I don't think there was a piano in any of those.
No, it wasn't. I want to say the working title was like the Gingerbread Man or something like that.
Oh, there was one with a man that.
Yeah, but again, that was the working title.
Right.
Yeah. I've kind of lost track of this friend, but I think he's still around. I should go look him up and say, whatever happened to that movie that I wasn't in 20 years ago, who knows? And, that scene might end up on the cutting room floor too. You just don't really ever know,
But exactly. All that. And
he showed me a royalty check he got from some Western he shot in the 70s or something. He had some royalty check for like $1.36. I'm like, wow, settle down, So kind of interesting.
But I get that every 6 months, man. So don't knock it.
Right. Movie rentals or something that he was getting that for. I don't know. That conversation, like I said, was 20 years ago. It's a little fuzzy, but yeah, he had some great stories. Like he talked about this one Western where he had broken a rib. He did a lot of Westerns back in the day. It's really what made his money. And he had broken a rib doing some other shoot. And for this next movie he was working on, and he still had a broken rib, he was supposed to get shot in the back with an arrow and then fall off a horse face first and land on the ground. And he's dead, so he can't move, even though he's got to land on this broken rib and then not move, right? Yeah, right. He said they did like 15 takes of him falling off this horse, landing on that broken rib, and then they used the first take. Nope.
So Reggie's going to be taking his first trip here. He's going to be flying out.
Attaboy.
So,
Attaboy.
Yeah, that will be good. Somebody mentioned chewing gum because of the ear popping. It helps to helps to equalize the pressure. My kids, when we're going to do the gum thing, and they're like, no, we don't want to. They just held their plugged their nose and blew and popped their ears, and they were happy with that. Yeah, I would definitely, if you do get stuffed up, make sure you bring decongestants with. In my travel bag, there's another thing is I've got a thing of Dramamine, which I never used until the eye surgeries. Now there's times where we were traveling last fall just in vehicles, and I've gotten car sick or motion sick. I've never had that before. So I've got Dramamine, I've got cough drops, breath mints, gum. Then I have Claritin, not Claritin D, Zyrtec D, the 12-hour, and then I have different nasal sprays, the 12-hour Afrin. There we go. Just because I want to cover all the bases.
I'd say you got it covered. You're like a rolling pharmacy.
Yeah, to a point. But
I got 311. Reggie, let me tell you this. Is this Reggie's first time flying?
Yes, it'll be his first time. Yep.
Enjoy it. Because I think those of us who fly so much that we are really so over it, the joy and the excitement of that is just so long ago gone, and you only get one first. So really soak it in, man. Don't even try to pretend to be another grizzled passenger, because we really wish we weren't. Enjoy it. Be a kid about it. Have some enthusiasm. Soak it in. It is pretty remarkable that we can, go to 40,000 feet and back reliably with regularity.
Oh, we can get above the clouds, especially if you can get up during the daytime and you can see what the world looks like from 40,000 feet. It's incredible.
The greatest quote, you can't make this stuff up. My youngest daughter, recent trip, her first time flying, and you just couldn't have asked for a better pillowy layer of clouds. It was entirely to the horizon. It's all you could see. It just looked like somebody dumped out a bag of cotton balls,
Yeah.
And my daughter is just mesmerized by this, and I thought, what a perfect first flight. And she says, "Is this heaven?" And I'm like, "No, this is just 30,000 feet, but I think we got to go further for that." But, I thought, what a great comment out of a little child, I don't know. I just thought it made all the passengers around us chuckle. And I think we all enjoyed the flight more because of her. And she said, when there wasn't cloud cover, she said, "It looks like a map." I'm like, well, yeah, that's why maps look well, but anyway, that's great,
Oh.
So, Reggie, I hope for you the same experience, and you know what, be a child about it. You got the rest of your life to be a grown up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much, it's such a neat experience. And as you mentioned that, it's like, yeah, we've become kind of jaded because we've been there, done that. Unless there's something unusual. I mean, the last flight, when Lori and I went down for the hardware show, for some reason, the captain took us right down the Grand Canyon, as far as right above the Grand. I've never flown over the Grand Canyon before.
That's awesome.
Oh, what an experience. I mean, to look down, it's like, holy cats, somebody made a hole. It's a deep hole. Yeah, it was incredible. So even though I bet I've been to Vegas 50 times, 40, 50 times.
That's it?
Yeah, well, see, I don't go quite as often as you.
I would have thought more for you, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's been about it. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'm closing in on 120. We've got a little tally back at the office now, and so
I keep track of everything.
Well, just for fun.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Sort of makes it a little more.
Yeah, somebody mentioned bringing a empty water bottle. I've gotten to the point I used to bring an empty water bottle and do that, and then it's like I just buy the $4 tea when I get to the airport. Because I invariably what would happen is I wouldn't finish the water, and there would be a little bit of water left, and it's like crap. I either guzzle it, or I have to throw the bottle away. So I've just gotten to the point of not doing that anymore. A friend, Robbie Britton, I think, was talking about this, where he freezes 2 inches of ice in the bottom of his water bottle and wraps it up so it doesn't thaw. And you can get that ice bottle through security. And then when he gets through, then he just fills it up, and he's got good cold water for the rest of the flight.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was his.
It's not a liquid, I suppose.
Exactly. That got it through.
That's clever. I'd like to look into whether or not that's permissible, or if he's just sliding by on that.
No, they've let him go through.
No kidding.
Yeah, he pulled it out and he put it in the bin, he said, and it goes through.
Huh. Neat.
Yep. Probably the biggest thing though is that when it comes to airport food, there is some stuff that's semi-healthy, but it's like when you travel, it's so difficult to try to eat a
Man, I'll tell you, Minneapolis, St. Paul has gotten rid of the two restaurants I frequented, which were Chili's and Fridays, and they replaced it with the Minnesota Twins Grill, which I get is great for tourists or whatever, and then a microbrew over there by G Gate. And just the food selection, you still got Ike's, and I guess you got a few other places, but you just want sort of that sit down, meal that's not a filet, mignon, but it's not a hamburger. You're out of luck.
Yeah.
You got, you got Dairy Queen and McDonald's and all the usual, nonsense. And then I haven't found a good spot yet. I mean, I guess I've eaten everything there so much, I'm kind of tired of all of it. So it's too bad. But.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what is kind of cool. Depending upon which airports, like if you go down and you're flying through Dallas, we can go and sample some different cuisine, even though it may be fast food. It's like, yeah. Todd, if you got a question, please pop it, throw those out there.
Yeah, if you can't tell, we're really just kind of rambling.
Yeah, we're just kind of chatting tonight. It's a really kind of a low key night for our evening. And
Ben Stowe Unfiltered.
That's what happens when we've got the busy ending the busy time of the year and getting ready for the next summer season.
Well, I was literally on planes, trains, and automobiles. I think we talked about that in a recent show, but yeah, and buses.
Got to talk to. I was talking to Jake, who was doing some things with DJ Expo. And he got to walk around the Tropicana a little bit. Mm-hmm. Definitely going to be a different feel and a different look with this year's show with Expo. Have you walked around the Trop at all in Atlantic City?
No, not that I recall that I have. No.
Oh, it'll be fun. That's a much different. It's closer to what maybe down in Vegas, probably closer to what Caesars is.
Is that a Hilton property too?
I'm not sure if it is.
Like Trop Vegas?
I think it is, but I couldn't tell you for sure. I don't know until I go in there and then I see you're a rewards member, sir.
Yeah, Hilton Honors, yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. What does that get me? Well, if you stay enough nights, you'll get a free night. It's like, great, how many more nights do I have to stay? 7,421. You're almost there, sir.
Almost there, yeah.
Yeah, that.
So you think it'll be good though, huh?
Oh, he was talking about and I got to walk through the facility, and just the idea that I could walk through the facility, it didn't stink, and weren't weird smells coming out of the areas where you're like, ooh, someone urinated over there, ew. So you didn't have any of that.
This doesn't sound like it's going to be a DJ show.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be so much different.
I know.
Riviera, right? And then even the Trop in Vegas, is better than it was, but still, got it has its moments. But internet, my cell phone, I had signal throughout in the bowels of it, as you're walking in the hallway, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got 5 bars. I can do whatever. Look, speed tests. I'm walking through. I'm probably the only geek who's doing that is running speed tests throughout the venue just to see how much speed I had. Okay.
You must have microcells in there or something.
Okay. Todd was wondering. Todd said he's kind of a little bit newer.
Okay. Welcome, Todd. What is he new? What does he do to
the DJ world?
Awesome. Well, welcome, Todd.
Okay. Is there a difference
between like a DJ's Anonymous meeting, So
I was wondering if there was a difference between XLRs when it came to mic and speaker versions of XLRs.
No, not really. We have people ask that all the time, saying I need a speaker cable, and we say, what do you mean? Because they're referring to a powered speaker as opposed to a passive speaker. So if that's your question, a powered speaker versus using an analog XLR audio cable versus a mic cable, no, they're fundamentally the same. They're identically the same. So and here again, shameless plug, but I truly believe this. Pick up some of our Platinum Series cables, and it's a great time to do it if you're new, because you'll never have to replace them. I can't think of a better piece of advice I can give you.
Yeah, and there was a time Bose had come out with one of their speakers that was a
right,
and that particular one they used. You had your amplifier, and you had to come out of the amplifier with a powered signal, and it had to go through an XLR to the speaker, and it was the darndest thing. I don't know of any other company that did
I'm not a fan of that, because obviously it created a lot of confusion. So
it did.
That's Yeah.
I ended up having to have something that's custom made for it, because as you improve the amplifiers, I mean, this would have been back in the early 90s. As you improve
Tell you
your
what, Todd, I'll
amplifiers.
make it very simple for you. I'll make it very, very simple for you. Just shoot me a message with the model of speaker you have and the length of cable you want, and I'll direct you to the right model.
Awesome.
Epic. How about that?
Brandon, yeah, you need to be at DJ Expo. So we're gonna do a DJNTV night at DJ Expo. So yeah, you'll have to come down for that.
Does that mean I have to come?
Yeah, you'll be there. We'll be doing another show. I mean, we started a tradition.
All right. I guess if I don't show up, who's going to have the funnel cake with Tara?
The funnel cake, or again, not I don't know if many people who have broadcast live. I mean, probably local news channels, but I mean, really, how many internet shows have been on the Atlantic City Boardwalk?
I don't know, but we need to. You know what? We should just book Tara for the funnel cake eating show.
Oh, hey, we could combine two things at once.
She can't back out of that.
No,
right?
she couldn't, because we've talked about getting her on a show and we never have. So this could be a great opportunity when she had like funnel cake smutch coming down her cheek. That would be awesome. That would
Absolutely.
be good.
I'm reasonably
TV.
certain she doesn't watch this show, so we need some peer pressure out here, guys. just go blow her up. Blow up her Facebook.
If you,
she'll be blocking me on Facebook in about 5 minutes here, but
yeah, fun.
That's all right.
Fun,
no,
yeah.
she's fantastic. She's great. I really like her. So
generally, Brandon, when we have DJNTV events, yes, we're providing food and beverage and a suite or something.
What?
Yeah.
How come I never got invited to those?
You're always so busy. And it's been a while since we.
Don't tell Ben. No, don't tell Ben.
Yeah, don't let him, because if he comes in there, then all we're gonna hear about all night long is this.
Funnel cakes.
And we're gonna have a headache, because it's like, I didn't know that much stuff about that speaker that's in the ceiling right there.
Resident Cliff Clavin, right? So.
Little known fact, but
did you know? Yes.
Shows in Minnesota. I think you've got Bill Herman's got his event, and then probably the only other thing is coming up. You guys have got a audio symposium and a lighting symposium.
Yep, back to back
next year.
As of present, they're both sold out, but I believe there's a waiting list, and you could certainly contact Mike Fernino about getting on that wait list. But right now they are both sold out, I believe. So
yeah, that was what, April of next year?
Yes, April
Somewhere
next.
in that ballpark, April. Yeah. Well, cool. Then I think we're going to wrap things up here so we can switch over, because Mr. Red is going to be coming on in and such in just a bit. So thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Kind of a low-key night. And next week, actually, next week's going to be a different week for us. Not that. Are you going to be in town next week, Ben, or are we going to do that one remotely? We'll figure it out, because if we have to, we're going to record. But next week, I want to do something different. We're going to switch roles. We're going to have Ben talking music. I wanted Ben to go through and pick out 10 of his favorite songs and the story behind them, of why those are significant to him.
We are going to have to pre-record.
Okay, we'll pre-record this one then. And
sorry, I'm actually busy at that time of the evening. I'm busy next week. So.
We'll make it work. But the next week's show will be Ben talking about the 10 songs, his favorite songs. Then when it comes Brian's time, we're gonna have Brian be the tech guy for the night. So it's gonna be an interesting week next week. So next Tuesday night we'll be back at 9:00 Eastern with Ben and 10:00 with Brian. Ben, thank you much for being on. Thank you guys for being with us tonight, and we will catch you back here in about 15 minutes.